My name is Louise Foudray. I am retired, and I managed and took care of the Amelia Earhart Birthplace Museum for 30 years.
What do you think could be Earhart's biggest accomplishment?
Probably to impress upon young women and women in general that they are capable of doing anything they set out to do, that they are just as capable as men.
Do we know about any relatives or people that are akin to Amelia Earhart?
Amelia has some relatives that live back east. In fact, her niece, Amy Kleppner, is living, and she has a son and a daughter. So there are a few living relatives of Amelia.
What do you think is important for people to remember about her now?
It is important that at the time she did what she did, we needed somebody in a very urgent way to show that women were capable. And that's what she did. She may have planned the landing and landed safely and came back to the United States secretly.
I myself still fly a Wasp motor, which has carried me over the North Atlantic, part of the Pacific.
The mystery of Amelia Earhart. It still remains today, almost 82 years after her disappearance. And based on what we know, it might be a while until we know for sure what happened to her. But what do we know? And how could those facts solve the mystery of Amelia Earhart? Amelia Mary Earhart was born July 24th, 1897 in Atchison, Kansas. Her mother was Amelia Otis Earhart, and her father was Samuel Stanton Earhart. As a child, Amelia lived with her wealthy grandparents, Alfred and Amelia Otis. She attended a private school in Atchison, Kansas, and in the summer visited Kansas City, Missouri, where her father worked for the Rocky Island Railroad. Receiving her pilot's license in the winter of 1921, she was the first woman to fly an airplane, as well as setting a height record for 14,000 feet in the fall of 1922. On January 3, 1921, Amelia began taking flying lessons with Nita Snook. June 17 through 18, 1928, Earhart became the first woman to fly the Atlantic in model Fokker F-7 Friendship. On June 25, 1930, Earhart set a women's speed record for 100 kilometers with no load and with a load of 500 kilograms. For a while, Earhart was going to marry Samuel Chapman, but called it off on November 23, 1928. In 1929, a man named George Putnam divorced. He found Earhart and proposed 6 times before she said yes. They wedded on February 7, 1931. In 1928, Amelia was invited to be the first female to fly the Atlantic. Amelia's flight, however, was postponed due to bad weather. When the day finally came, she flew the plane called the Friendship. On January 11, 1935, Earhart flew from Honolulu, Hawaii to Oakland, California, making her the first. Many have attempted this in the 1927 Dole Air Race, but that reversed the route. The flight was mainly routines, no mechanical breakdowns. Near the end, she kicked back and listened to a broadcast of Metropolitan Opera. But on July 2nd, 1937, tragedy struck. While flying, Amelia and her navigator, Frederick Noonan, disappeared. The mission was to go around the world, but while flying over the Pacific, they were uncharted.
Nina L. Paxton, a former shortwave radio operator, says that she heard an SOS call from Earhart a day after she disappeared. She says the plane had run out of gas. She said the two had lost their course. They evidently crashed near the edge of the water. Noonan could not walk due to injury of the rough landing. In 1940, bones were found on a remote South Pacific island. We did not have the technology then to analyze them, but a University of Tennessee anthropologist, Richard Jantz, analyzed the bones. And it says the bones have a 99% chance that they are Earhart's. This is valuable evidence of what happened.